A struggling tailor has nothing but a needle and thread to her name. A billionaire has everything but kindness. He gives her an impossible task, but she gives him a gift he never expected. The next morning, his lawyers don't show up with a threat. They arrive with a proposition that will change her life forever. This is a story about how the quiet dignity of one woman proved that the best investments aren't in stocks or bonds, but in humanity. In a forgotten corner of the city, squeezed between a pawn shop and a boarded-up bakery, sat a small tailor shop. The words "Carter's Fine Tailoring" were painted on the glass, the gold leaf now faded and peeling. This little shop was Evelyn Carter's entire world. It wasn't just her business, it was a legacy handed down from her grandmother. It was a place where the scent of old fabric and hot steam told a story of survival. Evelyn was a true master of her craft. Her hands, though often tired and calloused, moved with the grace of a dancer, turning frayed seams and torn cloth into works of art. She could read a garment like a historian reads an ancient text, seeing its strengths, its weaknesses, and the stories it held. But passion couldn't pay the bills piling up on her desk. Tucked under a stack of fabric scraps was an eviction notice, a constant, silent threat. Every single day was a battle, a quiet struggle to support her small family. Despite the hardship, Evelyn had a quiet strength. She greeted every customer with a gentle smile, offering them not just her skill, but a moment of dignity. In her shop, a patched-up work jacket was treated with the same care as a silk gown. She believed that every stitch held a purpose, not just to mend cloth, but to mend the spirit of the person who wore it. Her shop was a sanctuary of quiet competence in a loud, fast, and often unkind world. She held on to something her grandmother always told her: character is how you treat those who can do nothing for you. She had no idea that very principle was about to be put to the ultimate test. That evening, the rain was coming down in sheets, washing the city streets in a slick gray sheen. It was just past closing time, and Evelyn was about to turn off the single bare bulb that lit up her workspace. Just as her hand reached for the switch, the old bell above the door chimed violently. A man burst in, bringing a gust of wind and entitlement with him. He was tall and dressed head to toe in a suit that cost more than her shop's rent for a year, except for one glaring flaw. A huge, ugly tear ran down the side of his expensive trousers. This was Alastair Finch, a name known for corporate takeovers and ruthless business tactics. His face, a mask of cold fury, was familiar to anyone who read the financial pages. "You're a tailor?" he demanded, his eyes scanning the humble shop with obvious disdain. "I need this fixed now." Evelyn calmly took in the scene. She saw the desperation under his arrogance, the panic that tightened the corners of his mouth. "I was just about to close, sir," she said softly. "I don't care," he snapped, throwing the garment on the cutting table. "This is a $1,000 suit, and I have the most important meeting of my life in the morning. Name your price. I'll pay anything." Evelyn looked at the suit, then back at his anxious face, and in that moment, she made a decision that didn't come from a place of business, but from a place of deep, unwavering principle. "It will be no charge," she said. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the small shop with an undeniable power. "You seem to be in a difficult position. I'll fix it for you. Just take care of it when you wear it next." Alastair Finch was stunned. He just stood there, speechless, the credit card still in his hand. People didn't do things for him for free. People fought for every penny he had. He understood transactions, not kindness. He opened his mouth to argue, but something in her calm, dignified expression stopped him. He simply nodded, turned, and walked back out into the rain, leaving his $1,000 suit in the hands of a woman he'd treated with total disrespect. All night, Evelyn worked. Under the lonely glow of that single bulb, her needle danced. She wasn't just fixing a tear, she was pouring her integrity into the garment. Each stitch was perfect, precise, invisible. As the first light of dawn broke, she hung up the trousers. They were flawless. The suit was whole again. Exhausted, she sat down, a wave of uncertainty washing over her as she wondered if her act of grace had been a terrible mistake. The morning sun did little to warm the chill of anxiety in Evelyn's heart. The repaired suit hung in the window, a testament to her skill, but also a monument to her risk. Mr. Finch was supposed to pick it up an hour after she opened, and a knot of dread tightened in her stomach. What if he wasn't happy? What if he claimed she'd ruined it and decided to sue her? The thought of facing a man with his resources was terrifying. She was wiping down her counter when she saw it. A long black SUV, sleek and silent, pulled up to the curb, then another and another. Soon, 3 imposing cars were parked in front of her tiny, faded shop, their tinted windows reflecting her own worried face. Her heart sank. This wasn't how a customer picked up a garment. This was an intimidation tactic. 2 men in dark, sharp suits stepped out of the lead car. They moved with the crisp confidence of corporate lawyers. They paused on the sidewalk, looking from the faded sign on her shop to a paper in their hands, confirming the address. Evelyn watched, frozen, as they opened her door and stepped inside. The little bell chimed, but this time it sounded like a funeral toll. The shop suddenly felt impossibly small. The 2 lawyers stood before her, their expressions serious and unreadable. "Are you Miss Evelyn Carter?" the taller one asked, his voice formal. Evelyn could only nod, her throat too tight to speak. She braced herself for the legal jargon, the accusations, the final crushing blow to her fragile life. "We are from the law firm of Sterling and Graves. We're here today representing our client, Mr. Alistair Finch." He paused, letting the name hang in the air. Evelyn flinched. "Mr. Finch asked us to come here this morning," the lawyer went on, his tone softening just slightly. "He was profoundly affected by what you did last night. He told us he came into your shop at his lowest point, expecting to solve a problem with money like he always does. Instead, he was met with a level of integrity and grace he didn't think existed anymore." The lawyer placed a heavy letter portfolio on the counter. "This is not a lawsuit, Miss Carter." With trembling hands, Evelyn opened it. Inside were not legal threats, but deeds and architectural drawings. "Mr. Finch has purchased this entire building. He is signing the ownership over to you. He has also set aside a fund for a complete renovation to turn this shop into the high-end atelier he believes you deserve. The designs are in there for you to approve." Tears streamed down Evelyn's face as she looked at the papers. It didn't make any sense. It was too much. "There's more," the first lawyer said. He slid another document across the counter. "Mr. Finch wants to retain you on an exclusive, lifelong contract as his personal tailor. A contract extends to his entire executive board. He believes that the people who represent his company should be dressed by someone who represents the values he now wants to embody: skill, dignity, and integrity." Evelyn Carter stood in her small shop, surrounded by the promise of a future she had never even dared to dream of. The overdue bills and the eviction notice were now just meaningless relics of a past that had been washed away by one unexpected act of kindness. Her grandmother's words echoed in her heart, a powerful truth she now understood completely. A simple needle and thread, when guided by a good heart, had the power not just to mend a tear in a suit, but to stitch together an entirely new destiny. If this story touched your heart and reminded you of the power of kindness, please give this video a like, share it with someone who might need a little hope today, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories.